From the roaring days of Prohibition, 1920 to 1933, to the flashy glitz of modern Las Vegas, the American Mafia has carved out a legendary place in true crime history. These criminal syndicates, primarily rooted in Italian-American communities, originally formed as mutual aid societies before morphing into highly organized powerhouses of illicit activity. Even the earliest groups in New York City's Mulberry Street had ties to old-world traditions, but it was the Volstead Act, commonly known as Prohibition, that catapulted them into underground empires. Speakeasies, bootlegging rings, and political payoffs quickly became the backbone of this lucrative underworld, drawing massive profits that allowed crime families to expand across the country. Yet organized crime in America was never monolithic. It branched out into distinct families, each with its own leadership, sphere of influence, and unique style of operation. By the mid-20th century, these families formed the Commission, a governing body established in 1931 by Charles Luciano to prevent conflicts and maintain a delicate balance of power. These alliances and rivalries shaped everything from labor union policies to law enforcement tactics. While sensational Hollywood depictions often romanticize mobsters, the reality involves a network of well-calculated maneuvers, hidden deals, and, at times, stark violence. Join us as we dive deeper into some of the most influential crime families in the United States, revealing jaw-dropping operations and the cunning individuals behind them. The Genovese crime family. Often dubbed the Ivy League of organized crime, the Genovese family boasts a lineage tracing back to the early 1900s when the Morello gang ruled parts of East Harlem. As the decades passed, key figures like Charles Luciano, and Frank Costello set up complex networks that reached into New York's political and business spheres, especially during the 1930s and 1940s. Luciano himself was instrumental in forming the Commission in 1931, a move that effectively institutionalized the Mafia's national presence. Under Vito Genovese, who seized control around the mid-20th century, the family solidified an ironclad hierarchy that covered gambling, narcotics, and labor racketeering. Known for their intellectual approach to crime, the Genovese family excelled at quietly infiltrating legitimate operations, such as construction unions and the waterfront. Rather than engage in bloody feuds, they often focused on behind-the-scenes influence. This emphasis on discretion didn't prevent key figures from making headlines, however. Frank Costello, famously called the Prime Minister of the Underworld, survived an assassination attempt in 1957, an event that demonstrated just how high the stakes were in this clandestine world. Even today, investigators assert that remnants of the Genovese family still hold sway in certain New York industries, a testament to their enduring influence. The Gambino crime family. Originally emerging from the D'Aquila family in the early 1900s, the group we now know as the Gambino family received its iconic name after Carlo Gambino took power in 1957. Carlo Gambino, often called the boss of bosses, was notorious for his cunning and ability to fly under the radar, avoiding the brash displays of power that marked many other mobsters of his time. During his tenure, the family expanded its reach into construction rackets, garment district extortion, and high-level political corruption. After his death in 1976, the leadership mantle passed to his cousin and successor, Paul Castellano, whose more corporate-minded approach involved forging quiet alliances with business executives rather than running the streets with a heavy hand. Yet by the 1980s, things took a dramatically different turn. The flamboyant John Gotti orchestrated Castellano's murder in front of Sparks Steakhouse in Manhattan on December 16, 1985, an event that rocked the underworld and the general public alike. Gotti's flashy style and repeated evasion of convictions earned him the media nickname the Teflon Don, though the FBI ultimately brought him down in 1992 using secret wiretaps and the testimony of key turncoats. Amid all the high-profile hits and trials, the Gambino family left an indelible mark on American pop culture. Their internal power struggles even inspired key scenes in movies and TV shows, reminding audiences that truth can be stranger and more intense than fiction. The Lucchese crime family. Established in the early 1920s under Gaetano Tommy Reina, the Lucchese family truly hit its stride under the leadership of Gaetano Tommy Galliano and later Gaetano Tommy Lucchese, who took the reins around 1951. Lucchese proved adept at weaving the family's operations into the very fabric of New York City's economy, especially the garment district. Seamstresses, trucking companies, and warehouse owners often found themselves paying tributes or seeking protection from Lucchese associates, ensuring a steady flow of revenue that was harder for law enforcement to pinpoint. Their reach also extended to the airport cargo rackets at John F. Kennedy International Airport, culminating in the legendary Lufthansa heist of December 1978, one of the largest cash robberies in American history. Perhaps the most notorious public window into Lucchese affairs came via Henry Hill, whose criminal exploits with James "Jimmy the Gent" Burke were dramatized in Martin Scorsese's film Goodfellas. Hill's decision to cooperate with authorities provided investigators with a rare glimpse into the intricate dealings of the family, from neighborhood shakedowns to multi-million-dollar hijackings. This insider knowledge led to numerous convictions and shook the organization from within. Still, the Lucchese family's tight control over certain businesses proved remarkably resilient, enabling them to keep a foothold in New York's illicit underworld even as law enforcement ramped up its efforts. The Bonanno crime family. The Bonanno family, named after Joseph "Joe Bananas" Bonanno, once prided itself on being one of the most stable of the famed five families. Rising to power in the early 1930s, Joseph Bonanno cultivated alliances that allowed for a smoother, less violent approach, at least compared to some of the other families. However, this era of relative calm came to a crashing halt with the Bananas War of the 1960s. Fueled by leadership disputes and power grabs within the organization, the conflict eventually led the commission to temporarily expel the Bonanno family for refusing to toe the line. One of the most pivotal moments in Bonanno history involved an undercover FBI agent infiltrating the family, a feat that shattered their internal code of secrecy. This infiltration yielded a trove of intel about mob hierarchies, initiation ceremonies, and day-to-day criminal activities. Combined with Joseph Bonanno's willingness to pen an autobiography that peeled back the curtain on mafia life, these revelations provided the American public with unprecedented access to the shadowy workings of organized crime. While power has shifted among various factions over the years, the Bonanno family's storied rise and dramatic collapses continue to fascinate historians and true crime buffs alike. The Colombo crime family. What began under boss Joe Profaci evolved over time into the Colombo family, taking its name from Joseph Colombo in the 1960s. Profaci led with a firm grip and often demanded steep tributes, which led to internal rifts, most notably with the rebellious Crazy Joe Gallo. Discontent bubbled into violent altercations, including kidnappings of high-ranking members. When Joseph Colombo stepped into the spotlight, he famously sought to legitimize Italian Americans by founding the Italian American Civil Rights League in 1970, holding high-profile rallies in New York City that ironically attracted more law enforcement scrutiny. Colombo's public stance nearly ended in tragedy when he was shot at a rally in 1971, a turning point that sent shockwaves through the organization. Infighting and conspiracy theories about who orchestrated the attack revealed deep rifts within the leadership. Despite the turbulence, the Colombo family continued to hold influence in rackets involving gambling, extortion, and union corruption. Their unpredictable nature, oscillating between flashy activism and brutal behind-the-scenes feuding, makes them one of the more volatile and captivating mafia families to study. The Chicago outfit. Far from the East Coast hub of New York, the Chicago outfit carved its own path under the notorious Al Capone during Prohibition. By the late 1920s, Capone was ruling Chicago's underworld with an iron fist, controlling speakeasies, gambling dens, and local law enforcement through an intricate system of bribes and threats. The infamous St. Valentine's Day Massacre on February 14, 1929, cemented the outfit's ruthless image. When Capone was finally convicted for tax evasion in 1931, his departure left a vacuum quickly filled by figures like Frank the Enforcer, Nitti, and later Tony Accardo, each maintaining a powerful hold over the city. Beyond Chicago, the outfit stretched its reach into other cities, including Hollywood and Las Vegas, forming alliances that allowed them to funnel illicit gains into casino enterprises. Perhaps most intriguing is how the group adapted after Capone's demise. They veered away from high-profile violence and developed more sophisticated tactics such as loan sharking, union infiltration, and hidden ownership in legal businesses. These activities made the Chicago outfit notoriously difficult to pin down, setting them apart from their New York counterparts who were often embroiled in leadership squabbles. Over the decades, sporadic raids and wiretaps have chipped away at their structure, but their legacy remains one of the most enduring in organized crime lore: the Philadelphia crime family. Known historically as the Bruno Scarfo family, the Philadelphia mob wielded its influence through a series of stark power shifts starting in the 1950s. Angelo Bruno, who led from 1959 until his violent assassination in 1980, earned the moniker the Gentle Don for his diplomatic style. He preferred to settle disputes quietly and famously avoided open warfare, until his murder at the doorstep of his home sent shockwaves through both the underworld and local media. In the ensuing power vacuum, Nicodemo "Little Nicky" Scarfo took over, introducing a reign of terror marked by frequent internal purges that earned Philadelphia the nickname the bloodiest crime family. During the 1980s, this climate of fear and betrayal sparked an increase in FBI attention, leading to high-profile trials and a wave of informants. One of the most notable turncoats was Philip "Crazy Phil" Leonetti, Scarfo's nephew, whose testimony provided chilling accounts of the family's day-to-day violence, racketeering, and extortion. The revelations brought many of Philadelphia's top figures to justice and highlighted how quickly an established mafia empire could crumble under concentrated federal pressure. Despite the upheavals, remnants of the Philly mob have continued in some capacity, reflecting a hallmark of organized crime. It endures and adapts, often in the shadows. The Patriarca crime family. Stretching its control over Rhode Island and parts of Massachusetts, the Patriarca family established a firm grip on the New England underworld. Raymond L.S. Patriarca, the family's namesake, led from 1954 until his death in 1984, uniting smaller factions under a single banner. Operating out of Providence, Rhode Island, the group specialized in loan sharking, illegal gambling, and extortion, often funneling profits into legitimate businesses to mask their origins. Patriarca's leadership style was both respected and feared, ensuring a relatively stable hierarchy. However, the family faced internal power struggles following the elder Patriarca's death. FBI wiretaps in Providence exposed hidden rifts, leading to arrests that depleted the family's upper ranks. Additionally, the organization's heavy reliance on local political corruption eventually backfired as authorities cracked down on municipal scams. Though overshadowed at times by larger families in New York, the Patriarca crew was no stranger to mind-blowing controversies, including rumored alliances with out-of-state bosses and high-profile standoffs with law enforcement. These events only bolster their reputation as a formidable yet often underrated branch of the American Mafia. The DeCavalcante crime family. Often referred to as the real Sopranos, the DeCavalcante family claimed territory in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and beyond. Under the leadership of Simone DeCavalcante, nicknamed Sam the Plumber, during the 1960s, they quietly built a network of gambling, loan sharking, and racketeering enterprises. While smaller in size compared to the New York families, the DeCavalcantes earned respect through strategic alliances with their Manhattan neighbors, often acting as go-betweens for various illicit deals. Their operations flew under the radar until multiple undercover investigations in the 1990s revealed high-level planning of murders, extortion plots, and even rumored ties to construction rackets. What truly put the DeCavalcante family in the spotlight was the striking resemblance between their real-life dramas and the fictional events portrayed in HBO's The Sopranos. Investigations uncovered wiretaps with chilling details, including open discussions about eliminating fellow members who stepped out of line. This once again proved that truth can rival and sometimes surpass fiction when it comes to underworld activities. Although they never reached the size of the five families, the DeCavalcantes maintained a surprising amount of autonomy in the Garden State, showcasing how a smaller operation could still hold immense sway over local criminal enterprises. Collectively, these crime families, ranging from the Genovese and Gambino juggernauts of New York to the real Sopranos of New Jersey, form a sweeping tapestry of American Mafia history. Their influence is felt in everything from local unions and businesses to pop culture references in major films and television shows. While law enforcement crackdowns in the late 20th century severely weakened many of these crime syndicates, splinter groups and lingering alliances persist. Some members have attempted to blend more seamlessly into legitimate businesses, making today's mafia appear less overt but arguably more elusive. Ultimately, the American Mafia's legacy is one of adaptability. Each family refined its tactics over decades, leveraging economic and political connections to stay several steps ahead of investigators. Their stories have continued to captivate both scholars and casual observers, reminding us that the line between myth and reality can be razor thin. Even as we delve into recorded accounts, wiretap transcripts, and chilling personal testimonies, there's a sense that the full narrative is still shrouded in secrets. As true crime enthusiasts, exploring these layers of history can offer remarkable insight into how organized crime shaped and was shaped by the ever-evolving landscape of America.